Hey everyone, we'll just wait for a few more listeners to roll in and then we'll get started.
Hey, sounds good.
Thank you so much again.
Okay, let's get started. Welcome everyone. Today we are joined by a selection of protocols from including several that offer opportunities to earn yield and trade swell. So we'll start with some intros to our speakers. Then we'll get into the different projects and we'll finish with some bigger picture questions about BTCFi. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or raise your hand towards the end and we'll answer your questions if possible. Yes, so to introduce myself, I'm Kieran. I lead marketing as well. And let's start with some intros to our speakers. From Swell side, we have Killian.
Hey guys, good to meet you. I'm Chief Commercial Officer at Swell and happy to be here.
And from Garden, who do we have?
Hey everyone, this is Dude from Garden. I lead markets for this project. I'm super excited to be in this space and uh, love to hear everyone's thoughts on BTCFi. Am I audible? Is everything fine?
Yeah,
I'm just
all
trying
good.
out my new headphones, so I'm just checking if everything's all right.
Perfect, welcome.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we have from Avalon Finance.
Hi guys, I'm Jason. I do everything BD and growth. Happy to be here with everyone else as well.
Thanks for joining. Yeah, and last but not least, we have Summer Finance.
Hey, yeah, Chris here from Summer, CEO and product here at Summer. Yeah, can talk about how you can yield loop SWBTC and so on Summer.
Nice. Yeah, maybe to start, Killian, could you give us a quick intro to Swell BTC?
Yeah, sure. So Swell BTC is a way for you to take your wrap BTC, restake that through Swell, and what happens is the wrap BTC gets put through Symbiotic and Eigenlayer, and you have one receipt token, which is Swell BTC. So it's a way for you to earn yield through restaking, through the concept of restaking, and it can be semantics, whether it's an LST or LOT, but then you can use that throughout DeFi. Why we built it is we believe that all roads will lead to Ethereum, and that's why you see a lot of the Babylon players minting receipt tokens on Ethereum and not any other chain. And we are long ERC20 BTC, and we feel that it's going to be a growing market. It can only grow, in our opinion. So that's why we launched the product, and that's how we've positioned it.
Thank you, Killian. And before we proceed, I'd also like to introduce BOB, Bob, Build on Bob. Yeah, please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I am PKJ, the community lead at Bob, and we're a hybrid L2 focused on Bitcoin. And yeah, interesting and excited to talk about Bitcoin finance with all you guys.
Thank you. To start with, then, yeah, perhaps we could go to Garden, with which Swell recently integrated. Yeah, so dude, could you tell us a little bit about Garden and its role in the BTCFi ecosystem?
Yes, definitely. So I think out of all the projects, I think Garden is probably the easiest to explain. Um, Garden is a trustless bridge, which also happens to be the fastest Bitcoin bridge in the market right now. We enable Bitcoin to any asset swaps in less than 10 minutes, which also includes SWBTC that we recently started supporting. And I think it's very straightforward as to how Garden supports BTC5. You can imagine if, let's say, BTC5 is like the gold rush, Garden is like the railroad, I guess. We make it possible for BTC5 applications and chains to be able to be connected between each other and be able to transfer Bitcoin value at great speeds and also maintain the important factors of trustlessness and decentralization that is very important for Bitcoiners. I think that's one of the main reasons why BTC5. I'll save that for later. I think there's more questions about BTC5, but yeah, I think that's one of the main tenets for why BTC5 became a thing. And yeah, that's also why we started Garden, and we're super excited to enable a lot of DeFi activity in this space.
Yeah, thanks. We can definitely touch on that later. Let's go to Avalon. Could you tell us a bit about Avalon?
Yeah, so simply put, just as I think we're quite easy to explain as well. Essentially, imagine being able to just leverage up your positions, right? And being able to supply and just borrow more and then kind of resupply the same asset again, so that you have maybe you're bullish on a position, maybe you're bearish on a position, etc. And so basically, we are that. I would say in terms of this whole DeFi flywheel, that lending market were quite one of the key pieces in this area. And so, and I kind of just moved back a bit. Avalon essentially is that BTC LSDFi lending, also with working with a bunch of LSDFi products, right? And also, we also have a unique CDFi angle as well, where we're allowing institutions to come into a flow through our CFI side and joining into the DeFi side after that, which today and within the last 10 days, I think we already have about 75 million, and there's more that's going to come from the CFI area.
Thank you. And yeah, let's go to Summer. Could you introduce Summer Finance, Chris?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, SummerFi is integrated into apps like Morpho and so on, which Swell BTC was recently added to as collateral. With SummerFi, you can do yield loops or multiply trades, which are like leverage, like trading and so on. Ultimately, just in one click. So, like I said, with the recent Swell BTC recently added as collateral Morpho with Wrap BTC as debt, you can now like yield loop the Swell BTC token and the expected yield like through the various points and so on of it against the borrow rate effectively of WBTC, and you can do all of that in one transaction. So you can go from 1x to 6x against WBTC in that one click and manage it on there for you. Obviously, because the yield is just points at the moment, the yield looks negative, but obviously the expectation of those points and so on is obviously up to the users and so on. But yeah, we just enable a load of tools to effectively allow you to access WebBTC through MorphoBlue as the DeFi product. Do that in one click. It's kind of giving you ease of access to some of these tools and so on.
Thanks. Yeah, and we also have Bob, which brings something quite different to the table, I think. Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about Bob, please?
Of course. So To start off with, people who don't know about Bob, we are a hybrid L2 and we're powered by Bitcoin and Ethereum. And the hybrid stance uh, is like an important part of a stack. So we combine the security, liquidity, the user base, and innovation of two largest blockchains, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we want people to be able to build on Bitcoin. And before Bitcoin to become a vehicle for mass adoption, we've seen Ethereum as this hub of innovation where we've had so much DeFi, a rich ecosystem of DeFi native product protocols, and we want to bring that to Bitcoin. And the way we do it at this point of time is via our hybrid nature. So to dive a bit into the Bitcoin finance side of things for Bob, we have a very vibrant ecosystem of DeFi native apps. We have a lot of lending protocols. We have DEXs where users can swap their assets. We support WBTC, TBTC. We also launched a very unique product called the Bob Gateway, where users can convert their Bitcoin from the Bitcoin mainnet to WPTC and TBTC in a very trustless, one-click manner, within a matter of minutes and hours. And yeah, so we also have Avalon Labs, Avalon Finance on Bob Live, by the way. And going forward in the coming weeks, we're going to have a lot of LST partners from the Babylon side, like Solve Protocol, Bedrock. They will have direct native integrations into Bob, so users can mint their LSTs directly on Bob and then use them to unlock more opportunities in DeFi in apps like Avalon Finance and a whole host of lending protocols on Bob. So yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. We also have a points program that we're running, which is the official points program of the Bob ecosystem. And each of these apps that are live on Bob participate directly into that program. Um, and to just end this with, we very recently reached a very important milestone where we crossed more than 100 partners live on the Bob mainnet within like 5 months of being live on mainnet. So yeah, it is a very interesting time, and the ecosystem is growing, and BTC finance is definitely one of the exciting sectors at Bob.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that leads on nicely to the first question, which I'd like to put to some of our other speakers as well, which is why should users care about BTCFi?
Yeah, I think I can start. I think if we look at the TVL in general on chain, a lot of the activity on Ethereum mainnet is obviously denominated in ETH, right? And is based on the price of ETH going up to generate some hype and confidence, people moving funds around and doing different strategies. But what the whole BTCFi sort of vision and craze is that it's based on this belief that there'll be more and more BTC that finds its way onto Ethereum mainnet, and that'll bootstrap new DeFi protocols. It will create new markets. It will create new activity, and allow new things to happen on Ethereum mainnet. So whether that's in the form of Babylon LSTs, that is one form, or it might be something like Threshold BTC getting more flows and growing, or it could just be Coinbase BTC, right, that rises up and brings more and more BTC onto mainnet. But it's just based on that fundamental belief that more BTC will come onto Ethereum mainnet, and that results in more TVL and more activity on chain. So it is important to care, because depending on what type of user you're on the market, it means different opportunities.
A little side question, from this is, I would like to know what everyone defines BTC Fi to be. because it's interesting. Before this call, I think I spoke with at least two or three people just to get their thoughts on what they believe to be BTC5. And I think it's very subjective to a lot of people. Some people consider only the activities that is happening on Bitcoin chain, either through ordinals or some kind of innovation that is happening there for new kind of programs to be built or scripts to be built on Bitcoin chain to be BTC5, because that's in the system of Bitcoin, and basically is kind of secured by its nodes, right? And something like some people have the impression of what Killian has here, where it's actually a bit more wider, where BTC5 kind of is defined by all these projects that are trying to unlock the creativity in Bitcoin in a way, right? For a longest of time, Bitcoin is considered to be this very uncreative asset, even though it's one of the most popular assets. Even like if you look at history over the past few years, right, almost 60% to 70% of all cross-chain volume is geared around Bitcoin. That shows the amount of interest that Bitcoin holders have to access DeFi, right? And this BTCFi revolution, I feel, is it's very great. It's adding a lot of creativity to an asset that for longest of time people believe can't do anything more than just be like digital gold or something, right? And now that we are unlocking all these kind of possibilities here, it makes uh, blockchain and Web3 much more closer to wider public, because Bitcoin is that one asset that will really get us to them. So that's why I feel this is a very exciting space, and that's why we were trying to get Garden onto this. Bob would like to join the convo. Let's go, Bob.
Yeah, I think well, if you see in the recent years, or let's say until now, Bitcoin, when it comes to DeFi, has mostly used as collateral.
Yeah.
And if we say that all these WBTC and wrapped Bitcoin is not finance, you you're taking out billions of TVL out of the discussion. Like I think wrapped Bitcoin WBTC has somewhere around 8 to 9 billion TVL, and I'm not even like mentioning about TBTC. So it's true that Bitcoin doesn't have smart contract capabilities, but it's definitely one of the most stable cryptocurrencies, and its value as a collateral is pretty underrated. So one of the things that we've seen on Bob is our TVL, 50%, more than 50% of our TVL is in Bitcoin assets. So that's TBTC, WBTC. And that means that people are indeed looking to unlock more utility, looking to more DeFi stuff with the Bitcoin. And I feel like when it comes to projects like Avalon, when it comes to projects like LSTs and projects that support restaking of Bitcoin assets, even if it means in POS chains, you're unlocking so much potential for users. And there's clearly a huge market there. Uh, and I just want to end my point with just one thing. In the coming weeks, we're going to have so many interesting projects going live on Bob that do exactly this, where they allow you to do more with your Bitcoin, allow you to unlock more DeFi opportunities. Uh, and yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting time in the market. Also, considering we're seeing so many restaking and staking protocols, not just for Ethereum, but also for Bitcoin. So yeah, it's definitely a major narrative.
I think you raise a really interesting question, like, dude, about the different definitions of BTC-Fi. Yeah, I would definitely be interested in hearing other kind of takes on that question.
Yeah, I guess I can jump in there. I think from Sval's perspective, it's just the utilization of a BTC based asset right? Whether that's in the form of an LST, an LRT, just a wrapped version of that BTC. I think that's how we broadly define it, and we see the market as such. So there's a lot of different like ways you can take part in the BTCFi market, but if your viewpoint is that Ethereum will be like still remain the number one L1, and that all like most assets that matter will try and find a home and try and find utilization on top of Ethereum, then I think it starts to make sense, and you start to see the potential of how big it can become, because it doesn't happen all at once, right? But the market would develop over time. And as more and more BTC is brought onto Ethereum in different forms, it improves the entire Ethereum DeFi space. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting to hear from perhaps Summer or Avalon about where you see BTCFi going. Whether you see it staying on ETH, or perhaps is it going to move on to some Bitcoin layer twos.
I think just like everyone else here, I'm just gonna echo across all of the speakers here. I agree with them as well. And in the end, BTCFi is definitely this whole. It's kind of like allowing access to this whole financial services and opportunities to more other, I guess, communities, remote communities and disconnected places that never had this, right? BTCFi, in a sense, is like the whole. It's finally being able to unlock those dormant BTCs in the past, and we're finally be able to make Bitcoin kind of fun again. So I think that in a theological way, it's just like this is how we're able to have everyone. BTCFi is built on top of all these permissionless and decentralized network, where now everybody across globally be able to access this. It's just nice that finally we're at this place, because we've seen this also on Ethereum already before, right? And we've seen these yields around 2 to 7%. And finally being able to be here, and since it's been so largely untapped, I feel like BTCFi, it's just that it's like the next innovations after Ordinals and Ruins, and so I think in terms of just numbers and stats, right? We could see that now back in 2024 or like early on of it, right? The Bitcoin DeFi protocols, we have seen at 9x, 10x, now it's over like 2 billion in TVL. But then that only still represents about 0.1, 0.2% of the total BTC, market cap, right? And in comparison to DeFi side, comparison to Ethereum, right? Which is, which TVL like 75 billion, and 17% of it's all about 17% of it's all the LSDFIs, right? So I just think that the whole growth potential of BTCFi is immense. Or finally be able to get a huge different type of, hopefully, right? We're pushing the forefront here, but we hope that we can finally get new users and old users to want to participate here. And as more BTC is staked and utilized in BTCFi protocol, the market will grow, and there'll be so much more opportunities, and why we're all here today.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add than anything else that's been talked about there. Of course, I think one of the main points though is like BTC is like, for most ordinary people on the street, BTC and crypto are almost interchangeable. In terms, if you're talking about crypto on the street, most people only know BTC or Bitcoin as the kind of like what crypto is in most cases. Like, it's very rare that you can mention the word DeFi and anyone has any idea what you're speaking about if they're like not within the kind of like deep in that DeFi rabbit hole, or even like the Ethereum rabbit hole and so on. Obviously, DeFi made Ethereum what it is. Ultimately, today it's what kickstarted the majority of the development and so on Ethereum and so on, and the smart contract layers on top of there as well. Like, most apps that you're familiar with are generally DeFi apps and so on. So if BTCFi can have the same impact there, whether it's on Ethereum or on like the kind of on the Bitcoin layer itself and so on, then yeah, like it will obviously be good for like kind of like just general kind of like PR in a way of crypto and what you can do with it and so on in the kind of like ordinary people in an ordinary street.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. Yeah, just in the minutes that remain, yeah, I'd like to open up the floor a bit, and yeah, give any of you guys a chance to ask each other questions. I'm happy to take questions from the audience as well.
I have a question for everyone. So, um, I did a endeavor last month where I made one of my interns like ask all the questions that I had to all the Reddit Bitcoin Reddit communities to understand how a lot of Bitcoiners think about DeFi, about actually using their assets in different places. And one opinion that I saw a lot is that a lot of people who hold Bitcoin, I'm asking this question because I heard Killian talk about how, the interesting thing for BTC5 from now will be to see how many people can it onboard into using these applications. And one thing I noticed was that, a lot of Bitcoiners feel that it is very risky to take their asset out of Bitcoin chain and use it some on any other chain like Ethereum or so. My question to people is, how do we uh, make this better? Like, is it education, or do you guys think that we don't have enough products still that make it very secure for uh, dApps to use Bitcoin? Let's say either like lock it, for example, some of the things that we have right now is there's like trust minimized bridges like Threshold, where the asset is locked on Bitcoin and you can use it on another chain, but it's semi decentralized, it's not fully decentralized. So this kind of concerns a lot of Bitcoiners. What do you guys think is some things that we can do to get people more interested in using BTC5? Hey Bob, yeah.
I think this is a beautiful question. And I think one of the problems why Bitcoiners, the conservative ones, wouldn't want to come to a chain like Ethereum and use the Bitcoin is because they're worried about getting hacked. They obviously don't like Ethereum. But at this point of time, in the current state that we are, there are no trust minimized bridges when it comes to Bitcoin bridging. And when I say that, I mean like completely trust minimized. There's TBTC, obviously. They're doing some awesome stuff. But the best we can do right now is make sure that the UI UX is as easy as it can be. So let's say even if you are coming from a Bitcoin network and trying to bridge your Bitcoin to these Ethereum chains, uh, the UI UX needs to be something like one click. And one of the things that we did to solve that issue was the Bob Gateway, which is currently live on Bob, where you can bridge your Bitcoin from the Bitcoin network, that is the native Bitcoin, to Bob in the form of TBTC, WBTC. You get an option, whichever asset you want to go with, and you not only get your WBTC or TBTC, but you also get some ETH as gas fees. So it's like the quickest onboarding. It's very cheap, and it abstracts away all the complexities of bridging that any user needs to do. Uh, the I think looking forward, there has been some talk about OPCAT. Uh, on our side, we are contributing to BitVM 2, which is pretty exciting and could be would be a very promising alternative and a solution to this Bitcoin bridging problem that the whole ecosystem has been facing. Uh, you can go to the Bob social network and check out the TLDR by one of our co-founders, Alexei. Uh, you can find all the technical details. You can find and understand how it works and what it can mean for the ecosystem as a whole. But yeah, I think once we have that, once we have BitVM2, it will also become an integral part of our stack and make us a complete hybrid L2. So yeah, I think one in a situation like that, I think one of the solutions is definitely have a trustless bridge, but at the same time also make sure that you make your UI UX as easy and as simple as you can.
On that note, I would like to shamelessly plug Garden because Garden is one of the only out on mainnet production level trustless Bitcoin bridges out there. We use peer to peer atomic swaps built on HTLC contracts, and HTLCs are actually So HTLC contracts are something that actually can be done on low-level languages. So it can be built on Bitcoin and also other proof of work chains like Litecoin and all that. So Garden enables that. So I guess we are part of the solution, and we are trying to improve our experience. I think we currently have 2 clicks, and we are trying to get to 1-click instant swaps where people can convert from Bitcoin to any asset across chain in less than 5 minutes tops. And at the same time, be completely trustless because we are fully peer-to-peer. There's no custodian networks or centralized or decentralized networks also, for that matter, in between. It's completely from one chain to another. Um, so I think there are also a few other projects that are trying to build trustless bridges, which is, I feel, a great sign for BTCFi, because we need more of such solutions for people to uh, actually consider moving their assets across. But there are still a few more things to figure out. For example, because even TBTC, WBTC would still exist even if there are trustless bridges, right? Because they are the collateralized versions of Bitcoin. So that is one place I think still there needs to be a little bit more innovation to figure out how we can build more decentralized version of Bitcoin that can be used on other chains.
Thanks. Yeah. Any other comments or kind of final questions?
I think just the quick 2-3 minutes of this as well. How we talk about interoperability and being able to, and about the bridge issues. Being able to bring more users, especially on the UX side as well. As someone that's actually worked in UX as well, I love to see. There are a lot of people are talking about this whole intent based or intent centric, and I really hope to see these. Just what Bob is building ready, right? The whole one-click stuff, and most importantly, is also about the whole sustainable yield, right? And I feel like this is extremely true in terms of the yield itself. That it seems like, it just seems like that unless you hold, you can't really earn from your Bitcoin, right? And so that finally with this, I would hope to see more unique or recent advancement, or more advancements in a way, such as we've seen like Casino Labs, where they're onboarding BTC as backs asset for the USDE, right? And I hope to see more of these DeFi playing with the BTC space and just bring something, just nudging the forefront of these barriers a bit more, right? And then this way, you can think of it like a crucial step, right? As the BTC derivative market keeps growing, that maybe one day it'll grow at a faster pace than Ethereum, offering a lot more than just stability, but even more liquidity for these type of delta hedgings.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah. If there's no other final comments, then I think we can wrap it up there. I'd like to invite you all to follow our speakers. And yeah, thanks to you all for joining us.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks a lot for having us, guys.
Thanks.